Welcome back to the Overwatch League here. We've got a final game up on your screens and a final caster to bring it through with Ilios Infernal, Shanghai. We've had a 3-1, a 3-2 reverse sweep, even leg day, and well, what have we got on board here? The only scoreline we don't have is a 3-0, but kind of hoping it won't be.
I've just rolled in for the last match, get a 3-0, collect a quick paycheck. You know me, I'm always on that grind, cash money, baby. Here's a quick look at the Seoul Infernal.
Go up, son.
Quick place. There he goes. Dude feels like this needs to be rescued, and indeed it does.
Look at how aggressive he's able to get right now. Everybody's dropping.
And it is just a field day for Zest. Yeah. Oh my god. MN3 has other plans, though! MN3 has other plans, though!
Same old. Getting ready to win again. And what's this goal line so far? Pretty damn good if I remember. 5-1. The only match they lost was versus Dallas Fuel. Not a pretty loss, but hey, still a top team.
Yeah, and that loss was while Mag was afflicted with the old coronavirus. So maybe now recovering, you can see that the free and clear has been given to Seoul Infernal. They're back in their own element. They're back in their facilities, playing together. They can turn around, they can pat each other on the shoulders and be like, hey, you're inting. Or, that was awesome, man. You're popping off. And that is going to be, hopefully, a big boom to the Seoul Infernal.
You're inting.
Hey, man. Yeah, you give him the old Miles Morales. Hey.
I'm gonna let you finish.
You're inting.
You inting. Jesus. Well, they are all back to saying Mag's trying to... He's fixing his camera, but he is showing us some of the other players. I've been in that facility, by that's a fun fact. I've been in that room.
He went to Korea?
Where the players... Yeah, I have been to Korea, and I've been in that room where those players are sitting and playing.
So fighting. Oh,
there's
wow.
that.
Some fresh new merch coming out from the Seoul Infernal. And the old Philly Fusion jersey. We got ourselves a legacy.
Oh, that's last year's team. Yeah, it's Aim God, Bellatrian. Some signatures I don't recognize, but it's the old team from last year.
Carpe there.
Oh, true. That is Carpe.
Yeah, we've got Carpe on the bottom
You
right.
read scribbles better than I do. I'll give you that.
I don't read the middle scribbles, though.
Do you like that Bellatrian signature is an actual hamster? Did you see that? Did you catch it or no? Because that was really impressive.
I didn't. I'm just going to have to take your word for it.
The VOD. It was good.
Roll
The
back
the B and the A were like done with hamster ears. That was really good.
That's crazy. That's the kind of artistic kind of flourish that I expect from someone like Velos Rhea. Speaking of flourishes, Fate has been flourishing back on the Shanghai Dragons, having
ball players.
Yeah, he's come in from the cold. He's been invited into a freshly bedded hamster cage by Coach Moon after kicking him out the front door at the beginning of this season. And Fate's return has been an auspicious time for the Shanghai Dragons, who had a pretty bad beginning to 2023, but are resurging now and bringing in Viper. This guy got to be on your lips for Rookie of the Year potentially, because his trace has been real good. Now that Flood's moved over to coaching as well.
Yep.
Having a mentor like Flood is important. Oh, eating shot.
Okay.
Burger shot.
By the way, Oko is in Korea. Speaking of in Korea, Oko be in Korea.
I believe he's running the Seoul Infernal co-stream today.
I don't know. Is there Circuit Royale being played? I don't know what the map set is. Is there going to be a circuit game today? That being said, we saw a circuit game today, and it was Jinmu Fire. They won with Jinmu Fire. Seoul Dynasty lost to Jinmu Fire on Circuit Royale, so that happened.
That certainly happened. They're up against the Zarya as well. They tried to go for a double pocket Echo with the bubbled Echo and the Mercy boost, getting it onto Farah, but the move was simply too strong. Here's a quick look at Scood versus Iris. For those of you who didn't keep up with APAC during the first half of the season, Scood got our Player of the Split award for getting the most Player of the Match achievements over the course of the qualifiers. I believe 4 of them were given over to Scood, who's really had a great year being able to step out of the shadow of Shu, where previously he was languishing. being forced into that brig role on the LA Gladiators. Even though they were successful, Scoot has now been able to show the full might of his flexible.
I think Prophet has the record now for this stage. He's got all 5. I think Soul Dynasty won 5 times, and Prophet's got all 5. So
that's crazy.
If there's going to be a second winner, it's probably going to be Prophet. But yeah, we are looking at for the first stage here. Both had a pretty good performance so far. Obviously, Skew's been on a way more winning team. We'll see if that winning continues strong today. Probably likely. We have a 5-1 Seoul Infernal versus a 3-3 Shanghai, which, to be fair, 3-3 Shanghai is much better than what they had in spring stage. So Shanghai is still doing well. They're actually only 1 map behind from Dreamers as well. It's 12-12 map record versus Dreamers 12-11. Equal match record. Shanghai overall in 6th place. Good news is, though, I mean, standings aside, every team in the standings does get to go to knockouts, so there's that.
Yeah, no one knocks out during qualifiers, and you're right. Shanghai Dragons, 3-3 might not look that impressive, but compared to the beginning of 2023, these are dizzying heights, Avril. The dizzying heights of mid, being able to look down with vertigo upon where they once stood, and being able to put up a fight against the Seoul Infernal here or coming in as heavy favorites would definitely be a really good indicator for this team finally finding its stride. And both of these teams, it's worth noting, pretty classic when it comes to playing the standard. We've got very little in the way of other heroes coming out of these, but Ilios has always been a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes we see some Echo here, sometimes we see some Ash.
Just saw some Echo coming through Becky on Panthera. Those were on the other 2 rounds. Ruins, probably not the right kind of map for it, but we are going to end up seeing some M3 Widowmaker. This is classic. Oh boy. Hopefully a treat. Don't get to see much Widowmaker these days. Typically, you're going to see some snipers with the Ash. Hanzo. Rare to bring out a Widowmaker. The Ruins Widowmaker is, that's some vintage cheese. Not even cheese, just vintage tasting of anything.
Yeah, for as long as Ilios has existed, it's been synonymous with Widowmaker. You can remember back to the old days of Lynx farming on these maps. If you're as much of an old head as I am, lovely anti there, takes down Faye. But MN3's been traded out here by Viper, finishing off a dive that Faye could not commit to. And now with both the DPS down, Seoul Infernal might have some trouble climbing this space, or be relying on Mag with this Nemesis for him to get up close and brawl. It's given over and instantly slept. He goes big boy mode, but that just means a bigger hitbox for Iris to put to sleep.
Still holding the point alive currently. It's the rest of Infernal that are kind of falling away, falling back, and that Dragons start capping through. It seems like Infernal aren't going to be able to hold on too much longer. Waiting to see if Fix can find the rally, and if that ends up happening, there is a way for Infernal to get themselves back in. Mag needs a bit of healing. Super low HP, good Baronade by Eris. Still struggling to get these ults though. The cap's there.
Continual pressure coming out from his Ana. Fixer pops the rally. Remember, MN3 now having to get in close towards all of these teammates. It's a well-placed pulse bomb, and it gets rid of Fate. Finally, Zest finds the secret source, removes the Winston, and MN3, a little bit of a lore check here. MN3 actually used to be a Widow one-trick, essentially a Widow specialist for Element Mystic, scouted out by Rush. So, you know, the talent is definitely there.
I was there.
You were there.
I casted MN3 down that time. He's saying also used to be on Element Mystic, I think. I don't know if they were on the same time. M3 wasn't one-tricking Widowmaker back then, though. I don't think it was... We never had, like, real one-trick Widowmaker metas, so... Definitely play some other stuff. He played a decent amount of Tracer back then as well, so you don't get to see much M3 Tracer these days, but it is in the back pocket. So are these ultimates as well. Mag Annihilation ready to go. Hacked out, though. He's chilling, he's fine, he's living.
Didn't want to use it into the Winston shield. Remember, that does block the tendrils from latching onto people and can end the ult prematurely. Just a quick reset here for the Shanghai Dragons as they're trying to scout out MN3, of course, waiting until the Infrasight is done.
Well, Hisu especially is frozen in his tracks, can't do anything while the Infrasight is up, so he needs to be waiting, and Infrasight down now should be EMP time. Backline spotted. Mag on low HP. That's pretty tasty. It is very tasty for Hisu indeed. Mag was already loaded. Skew can't save him. Mag goes down. I don't know where Skew was. Don't know if the LOS was there. Nana would have been nice, and now it's too late to do much of anything. Soul Infernal being routed. Dragon's already got the cap, and no further ultimates needing to be expended, I don't think.
Picking up a morsel. And the Faye, Zest throws out yet another pulse bomb. Today, Zest isn't going for the ego pulse bombs as much. Viper can, for a moment, not live in fear, as they're usually being sent fatewards. And now Shanghai Dragons just set up their defensive perimeter.
Oh, there's one player who's really good at pulse bombs, certainly Viper. So, Might not be the type of player you want to go pulse to pulse with. I think Viper could also hit a decent number of those. Now to fix it this time around. Just saw a Ray Boss Brig kind of winning map on Ilios for up there in the last match. See if this can do much with that. Just staying alive, I think, is Gangnam Jin Pop's rally.
Sleep Ryan, Rorit, we're still waiting for the annihilation. Finally comes through from Mag. Remember that can't lock into the Brig when the big shield is down. Fate in a corner, can't get away. MN3 just hits the headshot and eviscerates the Winston. What counter, says MN3. I don't see any god up here.
The Widowmaker is not doing enough, I think, for MN3. Dash a little bit more generalized value, especially when countering dives and whatnot. Game is stalled out though. Pretty close so far, 75-63. Now Ultimate's on board outside of Zest getting the pulse bomb just now. Hisu trying to race forward for an EMP. No Sombra on the opposite ends means that Hisu has mostly free reign across the map. Doesn't have to worry about having his translocator being hunted by too much. Doesn't have to worry about dealing with another Sombra. Mag though, speaking of Sombra, is getting hacked out. He's low.
Mag is eating so much damage. The pressure consistently onto Seoul Infernal to try and drag over Skewed and fix his attention. MN3, though, takes out Viper. And it's once again the damage players of Seoul Inferno who simply find their opening while Mag is tanking away. Zest chews through the Shanghai Dragons. And Hisu's EMP comes up with nothing. Gangnam Jin's alone on the point, having a little cry. He'll get his blankie, his milk, go down for a nap. And that should be it for Ilios Ruins.
12-5. On blows to deaths there. Zest went 5-1 himself, just personally, so really doing quite a lot of work on our first opening round, the Ruins. I don't know what to expect out of the sort of Widowmaker Ram start there. I mean, Ram does get played on Ruins. We're starting to get into the sort of situation now where Ram is not really being as hard supported as you'd expect on a Brawl matchup because well, you don't have the whole Lucio Bap situation going on anymore. Keeping the Ana and the Brig in play, no matter what tank you play, seems to be the answer that teams are putting onto the table. But as we move over towards, what is this, Well? Zest is going to lock in the Echo. Is Viper going to do it? Probably not.
Unlikely to do so. Zest, this is one of his preferred heroes. Zest, for a while, was more of a classic projectile player. I remember him having a fantastic Genji. Obviously has been mostly known as a tracer player more recently, and now looking for some finishes with the focusing beam. Got to be relying on the comms for that one.
Still really good flex DPS, and you're expected to be good at both tracer and projectiles. And that's the standard hero pull down. We'll see what's going to happen here. We did talk about the fact that, you know, I mentioned MN3 was playing a decent amount of the tracer way back when. I'll be jumping on the tracer again to support the fact that Zest is going to be playing a decent amount of Echo, which means somebody's going to jump on the tracer. Struggling to get the kill to Eris here. Eris just refuses to die.
Oh, whoa. Now that he's acquiesced to the hands of death, it is an extended stagger. It can take a couple of seconds for Shanghai Dragons to be able to have access to that healing, which means Fate can't play too aggressively to try and get Seoul Infernal off his high ground, which is going to provide so much room for Skew to just snipe away and then fade away into these shadows to safely pocket a DPS duel.
Oh, not much on the Dragons camp just yet. Still waiting for the first ultimates to come online. Eris is behind. Skew is going to get this as well as Zest and MN3. Zest having duplicate early. Second life on board. Very important. Fate's already just taking a bunch of damage at this rate. At least it will give Eris a little bit more of a chance to build up. Slow going for Shanghai.
Nano given, pulse bomb too, but Hisu simply translocates away. Drops it harmlessly on the floor. Mag looking for those who would be in the corners. Not going down the well, but going to Tartarus. Nonetheless, Gangnam Jin ejected. That's going to be a solid defense there from Seoul Infernal with a double Winston.
One of the few times you actually don't see the Ana copy. That's been usually the go-to duplicate target. How many ultimates is that? 3 for Infernal? No, 4 actually with the pulse bomb from M3 as well. You could say that's fairly expensive actually, given how much it costs them to get into the fight. It's just a 1-to-1 for the Tracers, both pulse bombing, and Shanghai now coming into their own ultimate. So this is a must-win now. Shanghai need to do a lot if he's on board. Probably have to spend a couple here just to get this fight across, but if Shanghai can sort of win this fight with minimal expenditure, then they're back in the game.
EMP given over, Skewed the primary target, but the rally's going to be given over that green health. MN3 has gone down courtesy of Gangnam Jin. No rally was required. That's such a beautiful shield from Fate. Blocked off all the healing from Mag and caused him to slip through the cracks, even though Skewed desperately wished to give over the healing. Now Zest trying to avoid the Tesla coil, but simply cannot get through the meat that Fate provides.
Fate went low there, but wisely holds on to the primal race, trusting that his team's going to keep him alive against the Echo. So here it is, Shanghai Dragons. Wasn't looking good to start with, but one EMP seems to be enough for them to be able to win that fight, even though Skewed miraculously survives the EMP. Green HP, as you mentioned, from Fixer to keep him up. That's what Dragons need. Like, you want to see a comeback, even from 0 to 85. It's got to be something good from Dragons, but they're losing members here. Isu down first. It's already primely.
Good track from MN3, not to invest the pulse bomb there, knowing that Fate is going to be able to primal his way out of that one. Viper's lost, though. Now, Shanghai Dragons still waiting for the return. The green HP, it's no use against the beam. Zest returning to the Winston, double monkey, double trouble, and both of them can get through that shield. It's double cleave onto the Swedish lass, and she simply cannot take what the apes are giving. It's a well-placed pulse bomb, but it's easily avoided by Zest. No stick, no dice, no luck, and Seoul Infernal now have overtime. Shanghai Dragons need to scramble to touch the point. Is anyone going to be able to get there? It's going to have to be a little... just about gets it, but was hit with the anti. Now it's going to be down to Hisu to make it work. On the other side, Mag, given everything that he needs to succeed, this backline never stood a chance against the Seoul Infernal dive.
Sun Engineer is down. Not much more to play through here. Dragons will lose everybody. Hisu sadly will finish the game barely on an EMP, but have to be an EMP and spawn. Maybe not even that. Seoul Infernal looking good. 2-0 coming through on our opening map. And you know what else? Fixer didn't even die. Not even once.
Not even once. Unbelievable survivability coming through from Fixer. And Seoul Infernal, they're here to play not only on the standard composition here, but showing a little bit of something different. A little bit of Ramatra from Mag, well known as a Reinhardt player as well. We've seen Zest flex what he can do, as MN3 has got his 100th map win. Nice little milestone for MN3. Remember, he hasn't had too long to actually build those up. It's only been a
second year.
Or two. Yeah.
Yep, second season for MN3 so far, and he wasn't even a permanent starter last year.
Yeah.
So he was trading playtime with that actually means that Fixer and Zest probably also have 100 by now as rookies from last year, that is. But MN3 joins the cause. He joins the rest of the players on the Seoul Infernal for that title as Seoul Infernal will take away map number 1 without any real issues. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, map 2. Alrighty, 2-0 start. Pretty clean. When I say 2-0, I mean on the map, it's a 1-0 scoreline for Seoul Infernal, but I want to get too far ahead of myself, or maybe Seoul Infernal are just going to get that far ahead. It's looking good so far, but a control map series does not make, so we'll see what happens when we move on.
SHD, Scary Cat seems to be supporting. Look at the Seoul Infernal artwork in the back as well. So nice having the fans in studio at the WDG Esports Arena, of course. Our teams aren't currently there, but I do think there is there's some potential for LAN games this week, which obviously everyone gets a little bit hyped about. Oh yes, you love to be able to stare your opponents in the eyes when you hit them with a pulse or a tracer on tracer. That's what Zest lives for.
We had Pokeface Panthera just earlier in the last game on LAN, and tomorrow we'll have Infernal versus Dynasty. The Soul Bowl returns on LAN. That was the one game that got away from Infernal. On stage. He otherwise basically went flawless, -1. So
that was also the only game Seoul Dynasty won that stage, as far as I can remember.
I think they won more, but that was certainly the most important game they won. It was the most compelling game they won.
Yeah. It certainly started off their season like, oh, okay, maybe Seoul Dynasty are some serious competitors this year. The second half of their season has, of course, actually been much better.
You were nearly right. They only won one other game in spring.
Oh.
That was versus Rhodes in the knockouts, and that's it.
So in the qualifier stage, because they were also the only team that lost to Shanghai in a 3-2.
No, 3-1. Actually lost to Shanghai 3-1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know that Shanghai beat Seoul Dynasty. It was a major upset. Yeah, because
considering they just beat Infernal, I would consider that to be an upset. That's true.
Numbani up next. We might see a little bit more echo.
You know what Numbani is? It's another echo map.
It is another echo map. We could finally start to see some movement in the hero usage stats for these teams, which coming into today were very stalwartly locked into the standard of Sombra and Tracer. But we saw success on Ilios from the MN3 Ash, success on Ilios from the Zest Echo.
Oh, I will say the Ash existed. I'm not going to say the Ash was
Listen,
like, wow, look at that Ash.
He was certainly present while a victory happened, Avril.
Yep. And Mag just he stood on point. He held his arms up like a good Ramatra.
Crossed his arms.
Zest killed 5 every fight, and that's how you win. That's how you win Ruins.
Hey, if it works for San Francisco Shock, it could work for Seoul Infernal.
We will see if it works for San Francisco Shock this weekend. They have some interesting games. We'll see if it works. Numbani. There you go. You say it 3 times, the map is summoned, and we end.
We did it. Is that a glass donut?
No echo on the defense. That's actually fine. I think it's, you will have Ash on the defense. I think after A, Ash gets a little bit awkward after A point. So you can't. You obviously, if you got to choose between either Ash or the Echo, you're not going to do both. And given that you're going to, okay, I understand this. If you play the Ash on the defense, it's only 1 swap. If you play the Echo on the defense, it's 2 swaps. Because Zest wants to go back to Tracer. M3 then has to go to Sombra. It's 2-player swapping. Here, M3 just swaps from Ash to Sombra. It's 1 swap. So that's probably safer.
Oh, set nade incoming. Eris ready to set up Fate for success.
We got watch skewed.
Watch skewed. Watch skewed. Watch skewed.
Where is the nade?
It must have missed. Either that or Eris is throwing arm has sent it into low Earth orbit. We can expect to see some orbit decay over the next 3 minutes.
Have to go to Horizon Lunar Colony. To check
yeah, just goes past the window. Oh, a little fight for the point, Viper. 1 tap there by MN3. Do not underestimate this guy's accuracy. He is serious business.
That's first blood. And we're just chilling. We're waiting for Shanghai's next rotation of utility to come through. Eris. Oh my god, I was going to say Eris might just go for another nade, or He's who just gets a stray arrow onto M3's dome. That will get your offense rolling for sure.
Yeah, at least there's a cerebellum there from MN3, who's going to take considerable amount of time to get back here. It's a long walk, but Mags is going to be even longer now. Found after being anti. Look at all those assists. Using the Sonic arrow as well to make sure there was nowhere to hide. Now it's going to be a full-on disengage.
It's only been 1 tick so far. Mags already respawned, so it should be a re-engagement time. Surely Soul will get this. The Elephants as well, but Zest is... No, they don't. Zest was in a caught in a 1v1, so he can go for the touch. And Mag couldn't get out of spawn time. I thought Mag was going to be there for sure. What? Mbappe will be there no matter what.
I was going to say, I'll be there no matter what. Infernal. He said, lying.
They will not be there no matter what.
Now we're moving on to second. MN3 also got out of spawn now. Means that there's not so much time to actually move away. Just going for the classic ego pulse onto Viper, who still has the recall. So no luck today. Yeah, Viper does have a pulse of his own. Dragon Strike here to try and clear the lane. And indeed cleared it is. This does isolate Skewed, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. And Viper's actually going to be led directly to them. The information's been given over. A pulse in hand. You desperately want another stagger here, as Fate is just careening them all together. They have been shepherded, and then now they're going to be executed. A pulse bomb, a primal rage, all the P's are coming on out. But the only P that MN3 has is please don't kill me.
This is capable now because Payload's moving along steadily while Infernal's still waiting for respawns. This time around though, looking to see if Zest or... Okay, Zest is close. He's going to have to triple blink this one if he goes for the touch. And because of it's an escort as well. Okay, Mag just gets on it. You do have to touch for a long time and Mag has a primal to do so. Stay within the vicinity, 0.77. There is somebody else there. I was getting worried a little bit to see Mag jumping away and thinking, okay, well, Zest better be there. And he is.
This time he was here. No matter what, Zest keen to chase. 0.77 meters stood between Seoul Infernal and a long 5-minute hold on C. But now they can once again array themselves on these high grounds, which is where MN3 is going to be able to get the most value out of this Ashe.
Bob's there as well now, so plenty of different ways to get the contest going and prevent the payload cap. 4 ultimates online for Infernal. This could have been really awkward if they actually didn't manage to get the touch in time, and Zest will get a double. Yep, easy as you like it. And by the way, was it Eris that got stuck as well? One play got stuck, they stayed still, and yet 2 plays still died for pulse. Impressive.
Incredibly impressive. Maybe more impressive for Shanghai Dragons to not see that one coming. Hisu now swaps on over. Back to the standard. No more climbing upwards. Remember that the setups here for the Sombra do take a considerably longer time on these more vertically inclined defensive positions.
It's going to take a while. So he starts from 25, so at least he has a little bit of advanced charge from swapping, but it's not going to be easy for the Shanghai Dragons. Probably just have to make a play happen anyway. I think you gamble on this fight, play the nano through, see what happens, let Fate roll with it. It's happening right now, and then if this doesn't work out, EMP next fight.
Okay, Fate got a second jump, but Mag doing his best to try and make some space here, force back those supports and ensure that there's not enough support for Fate to continue in on this. Gangnam Jin feeling brave with the rally. Blue health, or rather green health aplenty. I wish I knew my colours. Alas, that is lacking in the British education system. Pulsum in hand. Full Zest looking for a target here onto the squishy underbelly would be amazing. If only you can find it. Fate, of course, has already used the primal and is now building up to yet another one. That's a bad miss from Zest. It's an easy dodge for Fate, barely even concerned about the pulse bomb damage coming on through. Instead backs off to try and get himself a little bit of healing. Bardic Grenade bonus healing won't be applied to him, even if it was on Gangnam Jin, but there's still plenty of Inspire coming up. There's the Primal Rage. Fate has just about got it. Do you invest here? Decides not to do so, as Hisu's already fallen.
It's taking too long to get the EMP. I mean, it's more than one fight now. I was thinking Hisu would potentially get an EMP within the one fight, but it's only about 70% here, well, high 70s, which means you'll have the EMP soon. I can see this going into OT for sure, which is bad for Dragons. So, not highest likelihood that they were going to get the cap off of the nano onto Fate, but man, they really didn't get too much done on that push at all, and even the secondary goal of charging up Hisu wasn't that much.
A hack onto Zest, a 1 versus 2. The cookies have arrived. And boy, fresh out the oven, they are nice. MN3 sends down the Bob, knowing that it's unlikely to survive this. Gets slipped midway through the charge, but that actually might be okay. It's going to zone away quite a few of Shanghai Dragon's squishy members. And Viper still just going to be creeping around for now in concert with Fate. Yet to be seen, and now are they going to launch the dive? A touch upon the point coming through from Viper just to try and keep everyone else locked down here.
Oh my god, he's lost. Oh, he got it. He did get the EMP. Catches 2, but he dies for it. I was thinking he lost the EMP there, but I did see the UI. Zest and Mag call. Zest still alive, receives the nano. No Mag, so Zest is going to do it. Yep, even with the rally flowing through, a nano pulse bomb is going to do way too much damage, and once again, Zest is taken over the map. 10 seconds left to play through. No supports online for Dragons. There'll probably be a touch in time. Hisu's even going towards the Widowmaker. He's looking for a long-range headshot, but it's between Viper and Fate to enable the payload further.
Looking for someone to get silly. There's a touch coming through from Viper. That keeps this round going for now. A well-placed whip shot actually means that Fate has to move into the danger zone, and Fix is more than happy to beat him to death for such audacity to touch the cart. That's my parking space, mate. Viper's next up. It's another stun, another whip shot, and MN3 finding the finish. Hisu can't find any headshots. And Shanghai Dragons, despite a momentous time bank moving into B, are stymied at the final hurdle.
Actually, I think they probably could have capped B, but a very clutch final contest from the Seoul Infernal will make sure that they don't. It was a truly a good attempt from the Shanghai Dragons. If you roll back the clock several minutes at this rate and watch Fate primaling into the Seoul Infernal spawn on C, things were looking great for Shanghai in that moment. And this was the Nano Pulse onto the Rally Brig. To be fair, Gangnam Jin was already on half HP, but I think even on full HP there, Gangnam Jin would not have lived against that.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta make sure. The trash.
I would have liked to have seen the double pulse bomb kill. I want to know what happened there.
Yeah, like, must have been Hisu falling into Iris somehow. Maybe a leap misreading the indicator of damage as to where the pulse bomb was. A little exclamation mark can be somewhat difficult to read in the heat of battle. You only get a second to try and react to that. And Shanghai Dragons, yeah, just gonna stick with the standard here. Don't want to risk Hisu being incredibly diveable on something like a Hanzo or an Ashe.
I don't believe the MN3 is going to do this. I'm not going to believe it until we get to gates open.
You refuse to buy in.
It's just not an MN3 hero. It really isn't.
Well, let's see if it is indeed real. I don't. Oh, hello. Just a little edge forward. Okay.
Ain't no way. There ain't no way.
There is some way. There do be at least one way. MN3 adds another hero to the repertoire. Well, we're yet to see if it's going to be effective. Anyone can pick Echo.
He's now crossed the line into Flex DPS.
Oh, the MN3 arc. Incredibly confusing, but still.
My son is off-rolling.
Look what they did to my boy. They made him play Echo, but Zest is playing Overwatch. It's a 4K. Does he wish for an ace? Could be even more than that. No, MN3 is going to steal that one away. No one undermines my Flex DPS debut.
Well, that was even faster than Shanghai's A and A. Shanghai's A was pretty good already. I'm surprised that Zest just cleans up their Viper. You're in trouble, mate. Maybe Zest is in trouble as well. They're both having to recall at that stage, but 530 plus. It's actually more than 530 when they actually capped it to get most of the way, well, to the end of B. No ultimates just yet either. I mean, this is all pre-ultimates being available. First ultimate will be skewed on a Nano. Well ahead of Eris.
That's such a big advantage. Nate hits nil. And Fate forced to disengage here. Might have to give up some space as Isu's gone as well. The 50-50 crossfire has been diluted as Zest is now going to be able to get a pretty clean ability to harass. In comes the Nano. It's actually on to MN3. The Flex DPS arc is ended pretty prematurely there by Hisu, even with 50% damage reduction. That wing hitbox is easy to farm for a well-placed Sombra.
Just needed 6% more. He would have had the duplicate and that would have saved his life, but sadly going to be available in time, and that's actually going to buy the time available for Hisu to find an EMP. So Dragons climbing up, also have the Primal on the rally here as well. Dragons defend well, 1 kill, and they stop the momentum from the Seoul Infernal. Both teams looking for ultimates. Pulse bomb out, MN3 copies, Zest with more frags as you'd expect. Gangnam Jin in trouble. Gangnam Jin has to think about rallying. He's safe, good distance.
Oh, recall.
Oh no, he dies.
Viper.
Never mind.
In trouble now, goes for the Mega. Interesting here, in fact, that Seoul Infernal seem to like the double Winston as a strategy, whether it's Zest or MN3 playing the Echo. They like the cleave. So good against the Brigitte, she can't shield any of that. Fate, Primal's just disengaged. We'll be able to come back here with the Nano, though. That's going to give him some hardiness, but do you want to give it over to Gangnam Jin instead? No, they're going all in onto the Winston, skewed under huge amounts of pressure. Hisu's able to help on out. Remember, stuns are going to come through as well, so Fate has to be very cautious about remaining inside the clutches of this Brigitte. And Seoul Infernal may have lost a touch of momentum here, but they've got plenty of time to play with.
Gangnam Jin still has a rally, though, so Shanghai Dragons are sitting pretty for now. They understand that they had double support ultimates coming on in, didn't get a chance to use it a little bit earlier. Payload is essentially at the end now as MN3 swaps over towards the Sombra. We knew the swap was eventually going to come through. Didn't want to play through at least one life to duplicate first. Now the long run up towards finding an EMP for M3. He starts behind Isu, but the nano from Skewed is at least available, which means nano mag and another play should be happening.
Zest simply slowly erodes this space away, inch by inch, forcing consecutively worse positions from Shanghai Dragons until we can find some sort of purchase. In this case, it comes from an anti-nade onto Mag.
Mag's flanking.
There's for Primal as well. Couldn't actually find Iris, but it's Zest who gets it done! He's simply an animal! A beast on the sticks or whatever he's using to play. Maybe it's a Wii steering wheel. Who knows? But Zest knows that whoever gets before him is going to be absolutely mulched by these pulse pistols. Mag front and center, scaring away any who would come and taste the pain that is being given by Seoul Infernal. Mag's barely got a sliver of health left to make that zero. EMP is instantly eviscerated. Hisu doesn't even know what hit him, and it's simply a firework from MN3 as Seoul Infernal run away with Numbani.
Didn't even need the M3 EMP at the end of the day. Zest has got it done. Plenty of frags, and then the rest of the team is going to fly in and complete the cap, and there's just not enough on board for the Shanghai Dragons. Looking at poor Hisu's POV. He's trying to pop in the final EMP. He's already revealed he knows he's under pressure. Drops it in anyway. Catches 4. I called that at the end. There's not enough Dragons members alive to really do too much about it, and it is a swift 2-0 lead for the Seoul Infernal. And for all those that are curious in terms of just how much Zest was fragging out, because we all know Zest was fragging out, and by how much? 12-1. Final blows to deaths. 12-1. My guy was so insane on that map. And now Seoul Infernal on match point. We'll see if they can get that 3-0 or not after this break. I regret to inform you there are no subs for either team, which means no Poco today. Assuming it's a 3-0, that is. Because, you know, with Shanghai, maybe. We get a little bit feisty on map number 3 here. We'd like to see close series if we can. But as I mentioned to you earlier, we've had all scorelines so far. 3-1 to start out with. Hangzhou versus Seoul Dynasty. A 3-2, which was also a reverse sweep. And Thera versus Poker Face. And now looking at the face of a 3-0 potentially.
Hey, but the reverse sweeps, they are real in APAC. We thought that maybe it was all over for Panthera.
Faking NA, real in APAC.
Gotta find the same energy, the same current running through our studio. Because the fans definitely want to extend their trip a little bit here to see Shanghai maybe return to some of their former glory. The last champions of the original Overwatch before Overwatch 2 changed everything up. NCT, I do not know what it stands for. However, I love his little handheld
I can give you a serious answer, but I'm trying to think of a funny acronym right now off the top of my head. I figured out what the N is. The N has to be no.
No choice today.
CT.
No choice A1. No Choi Obin. It's a very sad NCT. No choice today.
The serious answer, I want to say it, but I don't want people to think that I'm a fan of what I'm about to say, so I just might not. I'm gonna not do it.
You know what? Don't let them put words in your mouth, Avril. You put your own words in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't want them to assume that I like certain things that I may or may not like. It's no assumptions there. So Mag is on screen. He stayed in. Currently, just by the way, just casually, Zest's total scoreline over 2 maps is 22 final blows and 3 deaths. So over 2 maps, 22 final blows and 3 deaths.
Now I'm going to come in and let
Wow.
you finish, but here's one for all of you at home like me who are bad at maths. That's good. That's actually quite good. 22 and 3. And those are final blows, not limbs. This isn't like your
Yep,
scoreboard.
correct. No, this is more difficult to get than this is his own kills. Just his own kills, not his team's.
That's crazy.
Another player you want to highlight though is I talked about this in the break, but Fixer's only got 1 death. He had no deaths on map 1 on Ilios, and he only died 1 time on Numbani.
Man's doing the RP server mortality run. You only get 1 life. Watch point Gibraltar
So,
coming up
he's
next.
living.
Yeah,
Man's living in the moment.
If he dies again, he gets kicked from the team. Breaks the rules of the RP server.
You can just see the difference because it's like as we hit in Gibraltar, Gununjin and Eris, I mean, I think it's 12 deaths combined per map. So 24 overall deaths between the 2 maps between the 2 players. Now that's not to say they're not playing well, but they are getting munched by Zest and Mag and M3 in the dives, and conversely the opposite is not happening. The Shanghai Dragons, their support line is getting destroyed, and their offensive line is not able to really penetrate the supports of the Seoul Infernal. So kind of both fronts are not working out for Shanghai at the moment.
Been an incredibly slow day for Viper. Unfortunately getting consistently checked by Zest. But not only is Zest able to check Viper and keep him pinned into the territory that is auspiciously given to him by the Tracer Overlord of Zest, but Zest is also able to find time to pop into the backline of the Shanghai Dragons to find the occasional 4K to open up Numbani point A. Don't even know how he got up to the high ground. Shanghai Dragons going to be sticking standards here. MN3 still wants to keep experimenting on this Ash.
1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, I was going to say they're in the defense. That means you are going to stay on the Ash for a little while. Still has the opportunity to swap back over to Sombra at any point. Well, you are leading by a lot. Ash is acceptable in the defense there, so I don't mind it.
Yeah. Onions, ogres, and the Soul Infernal defense. What do they have in common? They all have layers. Layers of means to try and stop a Winston from diving onto you. Both the Coach Gun and the Whip Shot try to rebuff Fate's advances, and indeed they're successful at doing so as Gangyamjin's going to slip through the cracks while Fate was elsewhere.
What are the ogre layers? I actually don't know about that one, so I'll have to be educated a little bit later.
Alright, I'll give you all the ogre lore that you need later.
There's another long break. We'll lock it in. Number 3 was on mega low HP there. 12 I saw at one point while being bionated. And Dragons at this rate, I mean, trying to get some payload movement going. I don't think the payload made it into the underpass yet. Like, it's still kind of on the high ground. He's soon now going to be sniping with the arrows of the Hanzo. Saw this a little bit earlier on, was it map 1?
Yeah.
No, it was map 2, sorry, Numbani. He had that sick headshot on the M3.
Numbani, eh? What an opening it was. It was well converted by the Shanghai Dragons, looking to try and recapture the same magic here as Zest, of course. His job during this match is going to be to simply harry and harass and really troll the overall progress of this car. Oh, that's a lovely dynamite.
Orange got put on 1 HP there, but it'll be nade that actually dies. He's a different kind of nade, an anti-nade. I got a nano there, curious. It was really required. It's a 1-to-1 trade on the backline. M3 dies to a pulse, but Viper is traded by Zest, so I don't know if that's really usable by the Shanghai Dragons. To be fair, Viper does return a little bit quicker here. But I don't know if they can really make use of that, because M3 is also currently on the way back, and that was
ambitious.
At least not a tracer that Zest was going for.
Yeah. Little by little. We'll find our victories where they come. Nano in the hands of Iris. Where do you want to put it, though, is the question. Likely onto Fate, and of course you don't need to respond to something like a EMP at the moment, but there's no LOS. Fate has just found himself in the middle of no man's land, surrounded by enemies. And the trench warfare doesn't go well for Gorillas. They're not well suited to it.
Shanghai have at least got him more ground, though. Small victories we can get him. They've moved up. Gunham's just stuck in the corner here. Okay, he backs up. So previously, Shanghai wouldn't have even held this high ground, so they've at least gained some ground. Payload has moved up slowly, slightly. Time is, at this stage, almost out. Just about a minute left to go. Infernal still sit on wall of ultimates. That is a bomb that actually might run off the map if you're not careful.
And it hits the lip. Goes down behind. Does actually eat up the sleep. Yeah, that was a calculated bomb from MN3. That's a set bomb. Unfortunately, all it does is really funnel Shanghai Dragons into here, and Mag thought that he'd have more than enough room with his 1000 HP to try and get himself the kill, but he is once again least. Out goes for Dragon Strike. The support's all clustered together. Don't want to taste that dragon or it'll taste you right back, and its jaws are bigger. And I ain't talking about the caster.
And he got a big mouth.
You do got a big mouth. You do be spitting.
Cap comes through. Shanghai Dragons, oh dear. It's a 1- player. 45 now as M3 swaps over towards the Summer. We knew the swap was coming at some stage. Viper gets his man as usual. Good for the sticks. That's what he's known for. They use that though. They need Fade back and they need a 5th man. Can't do much without your tank here. It's useless this on Nano for Mag as well. Shanghai have at least got some distance here, but this hangar phase is difficult without much momentum.
Yeah, you really count on momentum here just to try and destabilize those high ground positions. It's going to be really difficult to get onto the skewed if Fix is going to be playing bodyguard, but MN3 simply outpaced, maybe had that translocator hunted down. Zest actually misses out on yet another pulse bomb. It's been Viper who's been far more successful in these, and Mag just didn't have the information to get value out of his nano. Where were the pains? This is what you give up when MN3 is down for your engagement. A rally here, yes, but it's a solid disengage from Soul Infernal to make sure that no one's going to be really broken down by the stuns. Mag, however, stayed in too long. Iris is able to manage to claim that one. And now momentum's on the side of a Soul Infernal. Or rather, Shanghai Dragons. I like red teams.
Well, the current red team, which is the quote-unquote home team here for the Shanghai Dragons, they get some real movement. M3 has the EMP ready. Hisu does not. Mag, Primal, he's fine. He'll pop it. No issues there. Fate deleted. Gunham's looking like he'll follow here. There is no chance to save Fate, given that he was also EMP'd, and M3 just collects big on that.
Yeah, investment of big-ticket ultimates like the Primal Rage and the EMP does pay dividends here for the Soul Infernal. Shanghai Dragons now are in more of a hostage situation where they are pinned into this small room with easy access to it from Mag. They are going to try and bully him off this high ground, and the addition of a tracer to that calculus. Zest goes for the pulse bomb. We cut away because you can't show that on YouTube. It is simply too dirty for TV. And Iris is but a dirty, bloody, messy salad on the floor where an Anna once stood.
Double for MN3 there, and the cleanup has been completed. Isu, I think, might have lost some positioning here as well, so it's going to be difficult to... No, he hasn't actually. He's managed to... Okay, he's still really far behind the team, so he's going to be able to find the back line here. 4 ultimates online for Shanghai Dragons means they can make one good last attempt. The payload positioning is not bad either, so there is a world where you do see a cap. It is possible. It's going to have to happen in the OT. Some good survivability here, but the longer we wait, the closer Infernal get to double support ultimates, which gives them their own survivability. So pressure on his Hughes goes straight into Hisu. Yeah, Corrala. Prevent the nano. Get the kill.
That's a beautiful stun and the peel as well from a shield. Excellently done by Fixer. We've been highlighting him throughout the day. And now Mag with a nano. Face down with the rally. Wants to get the Ana. It's a pass over to MN3 to B2U, but no kill. As the Chuckle Brothers are going to send this one away for a moment. A touch on the cart is demanded. But that's going to be a little bit of a sad moment there for Fate. Oh, a world champion. Yet no champion in anger management. Viper with 2. Viper got the nano. A hero was demanded from the Shanghai Dragons, and Viper's here to be it! The serpent has struck! The venom courses through the veins of a Soul Infernal who may have hellish resistance, but their demon blood is no match for what Viper's bringing to the table.
The tank is gone, so the nano has to go somewhere. Give it to Viper. He's been the most clutch player on the team since the start of this year. That continues to this day. I mentioned it is possible for Shanghai Dragons to cap, but they'll have to do in the OT. I just didn't think it was going to come through from a disgustingly good Viper clutch. Again, Fate dying without using Primal. That was not a good look, but Viper will save it. Can they go further, though? Can they push it a little bit more? 130 left to play through was what they had after capping B. Now less than 1 minute to play, generally speaking. EMP on board for MN3, and his last one caught 4. Easily won them a team fight. Isu low, might die.
Does force out the shield there from Mag. Not necessarily too relevant in the Winston versus Winston fight, though. And MN3 still commandeers for side ground, meaning easy access for an EMP into the backline.
Here we go. Catches 2. Fate down. No survivability there. No nano, no primal, nothing to play with. One of the few, in fact, one of the only reset that Shanghai are allowed to have. But there's only hope of finishing this match. But Infernal all over the show right now. Catching the final few players of the Shanghai Dragons. Do they even really have a good time to reset? They lose more than probably not. Possess is about to get his own killing spree here. Nano early on the Fate. I mean, they got to stay in this play, but Mag responds with his own nano. So Infernal just locking Dragons in spawn. They still have to make the touch happen, which is there. Can they push? They can't.
Oh, here is just dives into the pulse bomb. It's a cavalcade of errors askewed. Sits himself prettily in this position to freely heal all the members of the Soul Infernal. An EMP from Hisu, but Fate has already fallen. Now someone else who's a lot less chunky has to get onto that area. Viper's return. Yes, Gangnam has finally been able to chase down the final boss. And now Viper's in control of the payload. A disengage is forced from Mag, and Fate's going to be able to come back in with a rally. The only ultimate on deck for the next fight.
Oh, they managed to keep this one going. Hisu saved it with an EMP. It was Viper's job on B, Hisu's job on C. No more ultimates to play through for now for the Shanghai Dragons. Fixer still has a rally to go through. Mag now coming back on a ram. Soul Infernal are looking for maximum survivability, maximum payload stall. They want to stop the payload as soon as possible because every single meter that Dragons get is bonus distance that they probably shouldn't be allowed to get. Fate jumps away, but it's Viper that dies. So, no for the touch. Fate was gone. Viper's dead. It was only up to Hisu. No idea where Hisu is, so that's it.
And to see Viper make the touch happen. But man,
He died.
so cerebral. Yeah, being taken out there. Great target priority from Fixer to say, I need to hunt down this Tracer, especially in this overtime scenario, because guess what? Viper's the guy who can continue touching, who can continue kiting. Mag has come in on this supreme brawl character of the Masters. We get close range, but look at how Viper managed to purchase third point for Shanghai Dragons. Nasty blink melee to go full British. That was disgusting.
Ready for battle.
And then on the British hero.
Diabolical.
That's my contribution to that. As it's very good though. I mean, yes, what do you expect out of Viper? I was waiting for the Viper to pop off because what about the fact that I haven't really seen too much out of Viper today. It's a hard game. I mean, it's can't blame him. It's a difficult matchup to be in.
Are you copying me?
Even if you can 1v1 Zest and be on his level, which is easier said than done. The rest of the Soul Infernal are a cut above this particular matchup, but that was competitive. That's been the most competitive map so far.
Might still be a success for Shanghai Dragons. They have some leeway to play with here on their defense of Watchpoint Gibraltar. And MN3 is once again showing off the echo we saw on Numbani. New looks for Soul Infernal, new heroes to the pool, but I take Zest off of Tracer when your boy is playing like this.
It's not really like what I think of when I think about Echo maps. I don't think it's bad for Echo either, but M3 is Echo's not going to be on the same level as S, so this is one of those situations where you really just value the hero if nothing else, and it will be a 1-for-1 trade. M3 for Viper. Viper, though, is kind of the big carry on the team. The Shanghai Dragons, also the one responsible for stopping the payload, so Zest is taking advantage for now, free pushing while Viper is gone.
Isu, though, is quickly generating that EMP. Already 64%, putting consistent damage in onto Mag. It's going to allow that big ticket ultimate to be one of the first available for the Shanghai Dragons. Viper's return, which means that they're once again is going to be cart steal. This can slow things down for Shanghai Dragons to set up a dive.
Payload is set up in the correct position. Now it's time for Seoul Infernal to find those frags, get the dives going, and that should line up perfectly as Scoot finds his nano, but Kishu up first. He's got this EMP. Considered even maybe just pulling it now onto Mag. It would have been a kill. You need a little bit of follow-up there as well. Here we go, the EMP. Who to get? M3. They want him down.
They want him, but they can't find him. Skewed and Fixer are both there, and now Mag's been given a nano boost, I believe, during that to survive all of the attention that was being given over from the Shanghai Dragons. Now they've lost their big ticket retake ultimate. Viper's caught out looking for a mini health pack. He wanted a cookie, but all he found was bakery full of pain. A stick comes through onto Fate, trying to stay high, but just before the mega pack comes through, he's laying low.
And just like that, the point's done. Shanghai Dragons had like 3-4 ultimates as well. It's really upsetting. Yeah, well, EMP came in nice and quickly. That was the one huge advantage they had, but they just couldn't find the kills. M3 stayed alive, and no one else really was in any danger. Infernal just keep pushing forward, spend their own ultimates, which they only had like 3, but those 3 were good. They got the distance. Now they got a huge time bank going into B as well. They only need to, they got to get to the end of C, which is essentially the whole map. Time at least looks good for now. Here's Duke. Ooh, oh, he's slept.
Instant sleep. Everest puts down his counterpart, says no. There will be no copies, no impersonations, no pirated versions. I am the one true Anna. Fate looking to be the one true wrestler. Oh, spot. Oh, Viper sticks
Mag
onto
ran
Mag, and Mag delivers it to Zest. Hey, buddy, you got a diffuser? Come take a look at this thing.
Oh dear. Well, Viper, he's known to get his double pulses. There's something uncanny about Viper, man. He gets those doubles almost every single series. There'll be a map in there somewhere he gets a double. Often more than once. So, that's a reset. That will slow down momentum. That's a good momentum stop. That's what Shanghai need. All that. If they can. Fixer and Mag both copper bar and there.
Alright, Zest, how do you get value out of the pulse from here? The pathing to get it onto someone? Like a support, very difficult, but a good hack onto Viper. They just 3-man dive onto him. No more carries. No more mulligans. No more mutants.
Infernal's time. 3 ults on board. Man onto Mag. Finally, there it is. That's what you need. Payload's moving. High ground control plus low ground movement is being challenged slightly. Maxwell is primal. He needs to get some plays off the high ground. Boot them all off. Get rid of Eris and Fixer. Or Eris and Bellingham rather. Fixer still has a rally. But it's M3 down. First blood in this fight is going to be M3 down. And Shanghai have a player advantage with Hisu nearly on EMP as well.
Gangnam Jim was given over Nano during that simply to survive in case Eris was laying low. By that primal rage, EMP, like you said, in the hands of Hisu, this could be massive.
Solid defense. Just 1 kill. The defense was just 1 kill, realistically speaking, but it's enough to send Seoul Infernal packing back to the base for the time being. There's enough slowdown here that Shanghai can really get rid of this time bank, especially Mag dies, and down he goes. Hisu, EMP, solo, but it's fine. It works. There's no nano from Skew to save his day. Fix is too far away from the rally, and it's another reset. We're getting down below 2 minutes now, and look, if there's a world for Shanghai to actually win this map, forcing Seoul Infernal into the OT would be it.
Solid discipline and good economic planning is all they need. Isu. His little hidey hole has been established and found. MN3. Jig might be up here, but remember, MN3 is necessary for his EMP.
Oh,
can't spend too
Trans are
long
going to
hanging
move.
around elsewhere.
Isu swapped his Translocate positioning on it. The M3 still needs to find this EMP. He is dilly-dallying a little bit. Here we go. M3 has it available, but has Translocate out, so he's not ready to use it yet.
This might be in trouble, but no. Rescued by the rally, an instant stun. Hisu ain't going nowhere, my guy. What a perfectly placed shield by Mag. Absorbs the sleep dart, and there's the EMP. It's a coup de grace from the Seoul Infernal, but elsewhere they are being traded out. It's not as clean as they would like, and guess what? Viper still in the mix, and Viper's got some magic up his sleeve. Mag taken from two sides. It's a backhand from Fate, and now Zest is sent scurrying back into his hidey hole. What a performance from Fate.
Yeah, they've done it. Traded the support line. That's what you need. Hisu is now next on the EMP, and if the timing is good, let's assume that Hisu doesn't get killed here, because that's a cheeky translocator spot that inventory's found. Then as we enter OT, Hisu might have the EMP to finish this off, and Shanghai Dragons get that hold. Down onto Fate first though. Skewed down. Good play.
Fixer down as well. Zest pulls out a pulse bomb, but no miracles this time. Seoul Infernal are running out of options, running out of players, and running out of time. Mag taking a nap, hacked as well. Seems like
He's not
there's
dead.
no chance.
He's
Who
not
could
dead,
even
but who's
touch?
got the touch? M3 surely. I think it's got to be M. No, it's no one. They're all too far away. Wow. That's how it ends. We don't even get to see. I thought we were going to go to C, force the OT, somehow Infernal win it. We go to C, and it all ends either way.
All I
might
see
end up
is
being
this
said.
L. Whew. Crazy. Shanghai Dragons refusing to bow and to bend the knee in 3 maps. Well, Shanghai Dragons, their curse has been that it always ends in 4. The Eldritch powers that be say they cannot 3-0. They cannot be 3-0'd. It always ends 3-1. And if the curse has not been broken, then push will be where they face their doom.
Or maybe push goes really well. We got a map 5. Oh my goodness.
Reverse
Things go really
sweep, what a way.
crazy. That would be insane. 2 reverse sweeps in one day. Could it be possible?
I believe.
That was not a bad... Dude, if you imagine if Viper doesn't clutch up in the middle of B, this would be a very different series altogether. But and we got a real series on board now between the 2 red teams. We'll come and find out what happens on map 20 Queen Street after this. Shanghai certainly making things interesting with their map win on Gibraltar. Still a 2-1 in favor of the Seoul Infernal at match point. New Queen Street coming online, and while I do have hope for Shanghai, I'll tell you what though, Leg Day, New Queen Street in the past has been Infernal, or last year for Fusion, their best map.
It was MN3's franchise brand map. Welcome to Korea, Poco. I'm hoping to see at some point Poco on the stage. Maybe drag him out for a match against O2 Blast. I don't know if Seoul actually have another match against O2 Blast this time. That is an incredibly cute drawing. Is that a thumbs up? I too am feeling very positive. Thumbs up to the performance of Shanghai Dragons, and especially Viper, who managed to come online during Gibraltar. That was the magic. That's the Szechuan sauce we were looking for to really bring the unique flavor to the Shanghai Dragons.
Szechuan famously right next door to Shanghai. It's not. It's actually far away from Shanghai, but I see your point. I get your point. We are going to see Infernal.
You can't
land
see my
tomorrow,
tattoo, though.
No, I don't. But I'm trying to imagine what the relation there is. I'll have to just use my imagination and figure it out, I guess.
It's okay. Only very high IQ people understand these jokes.
But if Poco is going to show up on stage somewhere, Infernal do play Dynasty tomorrow, so I think the whole team's going to be there, Poco included. That would be fun. For now, Infernal want to head into their Soul Bowl game with as flawless of a record as they can. They currently firmly in the second seed, and they would like to end the regular season here on at minimum the second seed, and that's assuming that Dallas Fuel hold on to first, because Dallas also have some tough games ahead, especially the one versus Hangzhou Spark. And if Dallas loses the Hangzhou Spark, we're going to get into tiebreaker scenarios for first seed out of this qualifier. But for now, the red team's winning.
Red team do be winning. There's some fun maths in our future if things start to go awry for the Dallas Fuel, but they've showed no signs of slowing down just yet. New Queen Street up on the docket. And yeah, like you said, when Seoul Infernal were the Philadelphia Fusion, this was their map. This is where MN3 was at his best on the Ash, dominating from that central tunnel, which gives so many avenues from which to dispense pain and death.
Also, Zest's map as well. He is the payload thief, and I think New Queen Street was kind of where he crowned himself with that title. Just unbelievable burglary in the daylight of Toronto. Dallas Free also, when he was on Fusion last year, famously played a lot of ball on this map previously. Of Mag on board, who actually has played a lot of ball as well, but no ball here. We are not balling today.
F.
I don't even think MN3 will be playing any Ash here, so just the normal stuff.
Yeah, why not? Keep it regular. Shanghai Dragons still feeling pretty confident with this. And MN3, question is, how much more time can we spend staring at translocators? I think that MN3 did have a somewhat lackadaisical pace on Gibraltar, which was not a huge boon for the Seoul Infernal.
Fate was also having one last game. Fate was on something on Gibraltar. We want to see MN3 with some pace. He is the first one that's deep in. Takes a bit of damage for it, though. He was trying to get right into the middle of the Dragon squad. Viper taking a bit of damage here as well. No hacks to be found just yet.
Exchange of fire across the periphery. And slowly forced out are the Seoul Infernal, just running low on healing resources potentially, so they'll set up for another more well-resourced fight with time on their side.
Dragons have better angles here, I think, so that's to Dragon's advantage. They have longer sight lines, which means Fate should be kept up here. Fate's taking a bit of a beating at the moment. Aris now getting the beating himself. Sweeping is going to be Zest. He knows the players, though. He's going to be the first one to take things into his own hands, and first blood on point. Dragons, extremely brief amount of meters gained, and Seoul Infernal will easily take the lead now.
Easily moving over into the lead, like you said. What a pick that is to get. Remove Eris, remove so much of the healing potential. Viper, touch of audacity moving forward, but that's okay. And Zest, oh, you better believe a pulse bomb is ready.
So our first ult on board is going to be the Tracer as well. Where does he go with this one? Probably not onto Viper. He'll be looking for a backliner. spotting some Hisu in there. Nano's available here as well, skewed far ahead of Ares, who actually died in the last fight, as we talked about. He has that Nano onto Mag now. This is advantage line for the Seoul Infernal. They want something out of this one. MN3 also with the EMP, but he's out. He's translocated away. Ares still dies.
Yeah, full dive there onto Ares coming through from Mag. Flattens him underfoot, and Ares has been consistently bullied by these as Gangnam Jin's attention was drawn elsewhere by MN3's more raucous attempts at a duel, but was spacing incredibly well against the Brigitte, and Seoul Infernal continue rolling forward.
Cap's coming, which means Dragons have to go now. Dragons turn to do something. They got the 4 ultimates on board. They already used the rally. Should be a easy contest before we even think about... Okay, we even think about the cap, but Fate got solo EMP'd. Fate had a primal, and above that, Ares also had the Nano, so that was a little bit risky from MN3. Mag, on the other hand, just gets wiped out. Hisu drops that one in there. Skewed already burned the Nano, and Mag just couldn't pop the primal in time before he dies, so much more successful out of Dragons.
Not so lucky on the timing. Fate going to continue chasing. Skewed. It does feel only a modicum of pressure. Doesn't really respect it that much. No sleep going to be delivered though. So the bot still being buried away here by Viper. Once again, a battle of the wills between the Tracer here to make sure that Timmy continues moving in their favor. What a blink stick from Viper, but Zest is just as deadly. 2 backlines instantly torn asunder, scragged on the streets of Toronto by the Tracers. And while Mag is trying to ledge guard over here, he's playing the wrong game, but he's finding the right targets. Fate falls.
He's looking for the same result in either case. Keep the other team off the ground of the game, out of bounds, push him out. No cap for the Seoul Infernal, but great amount of distance in either case, and they'll prevent the Shanghai Dragons from getting much of their own here. What do they do? From 5 to 14, so minor increases coming through from the Dragons. Still, though, being able to stop the cap is keeping Dragons within the game for now. 3.5 minutes gone. Nano's the only ultimate on board.
Incremental moves. Nano for Ares. Fate calls that he doesn't have a good enough landing to demand it there. Instead, just buying that space once again for the bot to go back and forth. It's a chess match between not only these teams, but especially these Tracers as they jockey for that position. And there's going to be incoming Fixer identified, but actually closing that distance is going to be really hard. Skewed finally alone, but a return of Fixer to his side will mean that he's feeling real safe to try and take the duel. The Cleave don't mean that much, but the Primal might mean slightly more. It's easy tracking for Zest, who's looking for a pulse bomb.
Skewed.
Mega over there. Fate is just still trying to bully this one away. In comes the pulse bomb. Iris doesn't step on this one. Dirty habits put away. EMP given over. I think that one went onto Mag, who easily rebuffed. He'd actually received the Nano prior to such. And Fate found in a post-primal state easy to execute.
I think Hisu might have missed, actually. If he did hit it, you're right, it would have only have gone onto Mag. Wasn't very convincing in either case. Shanghai Dragons, not going to get too much done there. The cap is incoming, the cap is here, and Seoul Infernal now firmly in the lead 5 minutes into the game. EP's still there for MN3, so they can push this one further. They can now snowball for 70, 80 meters, really push their advantage into winning territory. And once you start getting into anything above 70, it's starting to look dire for the Shanghai Dragons, who need a lot more to play through. Viper, uncharacteristically missing a pulse. He usually hits those.
Eldritch Invocations of 3-1 once again ringing in my mind. Is it some dark patron that demands it to happen, or is it simply the cosmic forces of the Seoul Infernal who charge forward with a rally? Yes, but a disengagement from the Shanghai Dragons will give them a little bit of space to breathe on both sides. A little bit of extra distance, an EMP onto a rally. Your rally means nothing to MN3. As Seoul Infernal tear apart the corpses like hyenas looking for a snack.
We'll get more. They're hungry.
Oh, they are. They want those morsels.
85 to 90, I think. Yeah, they can threaten 100 for sure. Shanghai Dragons still need to wait for respawns. Ares is not here, and there's late deaths as well. Viper just instantly gets munched as soon as he respawns out the gate, so it doesn't end. And there's more players for Shanghai that are still low HP, yet to fully regroup. Now they finally have 5, and they got the Nano. They probably have to spend the Nano onto Fate just to get outdoors. We're well above 100 now. We're well into the three digits.
Mag has decided. No more Iris. However, the healing is good. Bardic made onto themselves. There's plenty of healing coming through from a combination of cookies and Inspire uptime. Piece has been forced out for a moment, but it doesn't matter. Translocating into safe hands, and Seoul Infernal, they've had themselves a hearty lunch. They'll have a little bit of a post-meal stupor as they back off.
payload jogging along here. Okay, skewed down. That will be the end of the fight for sure now. M3 might stick around, just do a little bit more damage, wants to find as much EMP as possible. Shanghai Dragons sitting on 4 ultimates. Look, if there's a chance for Shanghai Dragons to start to get some real work done in the final hour here with 3 minutes left to go. It is right now. They can get a cap here if they can do well enough. They would have to kind of force that because they're starting from 14 meters and they have to catch up like, what, 90 meters at this stage.
So many wins in a row, and they have to do them economically. Skewed, noted. This is not the ideal distance for them. Oh, the stick, though! Viper, you said the myth, you said the legend, and it still proves to be true, after all. Every single map, no matter the context, no matter the challenge, Viper will find the double bomb.
He's good for it. He's good for the twos, man. I didn't say every map, but I did say every series, but I did also mention it, you know, oftentimes in a series on more than one map, and here it is. 2 again, 2 in a row even. And it's enough to keep Shanghai in this one. They still need to get past EMP. He's just already burned an EMP, and they haven't capped off the back of that one. They have 4 ultimates coming into this cap. Now it's just sitting on the 1. And that 1 is going to get spent on Fate. Can they get something done with Fate being nanoed here? Trying. Gunlimge and Ares in trouble. Gunlimge dies at 97, which is really, really unfortunate.
Playing around Mag's bubble here, been very good for Zest. Doesn't have to worry about the poke at all. Health back stolen out from under them, but Fate won't be able to survive for long here. Once again, Seoul Infernal starts to roll on through. And there is going to be a forward spawn here for Shanghai Dragons, so we'll be able to get back into the fight quick as you could like.
Oh, they did cap, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, so they got something done. That was
elsewhere.
not as bad as I thought. They did manage to get a cap, which is positive. It's still plenty of work to be done. Like, it's 105 to 57, so yeah, lots to be done there for the Shanghai Dragons still, but step 1, very important step to actually get the cap, and they got that.
Viper chasing over after Zest forces out the recall. Could find themselves a 2v1 here, but they are within the caring eyes of Skewed. Unlikely to drop this, as they're unlikely to drop Mag. Nano boost given over, dropped down to the floor by a sleep dart here from Iris. A little bit of self-kill given over as Mag is going to run the length, the gamut of the primal. A pulse bomb moved over. Yes, that was one onto a tracer. And Zest is going to use that to force out the recall from Viper. Not quite the results that he wanted, but still finds some space, but it is given up here by the Seoul Infernal, forced back by a primal rage, as Fate is careful not to overextend or overstay his welcome.
Fate still low here. Desperately needs to be healed up by Eris, who's working on the nano as well. This is likely to be the final push, the final real push, given that Shanghai Dragons, if they lose this fight, the payload goes deep into their own base again, and they can't afford that to happen. MN3 down is nice, a much better EMP from Isu. Seoul Infernal might just have to give this one. In fact, they don't want to lose any further players. No late deaths here. They know that for the last 25 seconds, all they're going to do is defend. And actually, OT is dangerous for them as well. OT respawns are very bad at Isu. At least he dies before the OT, but that doesn't feel good. A pulse bomb does also land, but no kill. Fix is alive.
Yeah, Rally instantly popped, gave Fixer all the HP needed to cushion the blow that came on through, and now Seoul Infernal are coming up to critical mass of offensive power, a nano boost, an EMP, a pulse all in the back pocket as Hisu's moved over to the Sojourn, a little bit of comfort maybe to coddle Shanghai Dragons towards the reassuring blankie of victory. Skewed in a safe position. A nano boost in hand for now, simply waiting for what stimulus may come from the Shanghai Dragons. Nothing too much coming up on ultimates for them, but it's the EMP that tears them asunder. Skewed has made sure that Fate doesn't know what even hit him, and a shield is broken down as the pulse bomb comes through. No one can touch the car, and Seoul Infernal continue the 3-1 curse that has afflicted the Shanghai Dragons with an overwhelming victory on New Queen.
A win is a win. A win is a win. Gibraltar might have to be something that Seoul Infernal analyzes a little bit further, but overall, extremely solid performance once again coming through from the Seoul Infernal, and as expected, the COVID era of the Seoul Infernals last week has ended. Mag is back in, all players are in facility, and looking much stronger, I would say, as a result of which, so their overall extremely winning record continues. And because they haven't lost anyone else outside of Dallas Field, they can still maybe overtake Dallas if Hangzhou can beat the Dallas Field this week as well. So lots to look forward to for the Seoul Dynasty. Dynasty, Infernal. A little bit of Fruity and slip there, don't mind me.
That's okay. We're going to have Seoul Dynasty versus Seoul Infernal tomorrow. That's going to be that's going to be a real fun one to cast for Soul Bowl.
You know what? I'm just going to call them both Soul.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm talking about.
The unfalsifiable hypothesis is the best hypothesis. Zest is your player of the match by an almost unanimous vote by both the broadcast teams. And why not? Like, after Zest essentially solo carried his way through Numbani A, everyone just had his eyes on Zest thinking, yeah, it's a zesty day.
And he finishes the series, all 4 maps. His overall KD final blows to deaths is 40 final blows to 10 deaths. And
1 on KD.
6 of those deaths were on Gibraltar, the map they lost, which means on the other 3 maps he only died 4 times total. Twice on Ilios, once on Numbani, once on the last map in the free streak.
And to be fair, one of those deaths was Mag XQCing him.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, one of the deaths was Mag running the pulse, so that happened.
Just jumping it straight in. No time to react. But we're going to see plenty of pulses over the next couple of seconds as we move into our Zest highlight reel here. Of course, it was interesting to see the echo duties being shared today, and Philly Fusion, no, Seoul Infernal, thinking about how much they can expand the hero pools of MN3 and Zest to make sure that Zest can essentially permanently stay on this Tracer until she is not mandatory for competitive success. As it stands, Tracer remains basically mandatory, and that means you need someone like Zest who can always answer the call.
Ideally, Tracer will always remain mandatory, so that would be the
I mean,
the best
I would
case
love to see
scenario,
it.
in my opinion. That being the case, players like Zest will always be on top. And Viper also had eventually a pretty damn good game in the Tracer 2, but a very difficult game. Look at this, just the highlight reel coming through from Zest. Talk about the Numbani line of play that we saw here. But it was hard for the Shanghai support to stay alive in here. Zest was just right deep in the back line all the way through. Worst of all, he was barely ever getting closer. It was difficult to even kill Zest. Gibraltar was his worst map, and he still flagged that.
Mag demands a lot of damage going his way to stop him from climbing that space, and often Viper was the one who was responsible for it. Quick credit as well for one of those previous sticks we saw onto Iris. Blinking past the Brigitte without LOS onto the Ana. That's some good comms, some good pings, and some good informational scouting coming through from the remainder of Seoul Infernal to make sure that Zest can get those deliveries done. Should still soon have an interview
I like a delivery
coming
on time.
And here we go. Unknown will make it happen.
반갑습니다.
네, 안녕하세요.
Hello,
아유,
Mandy.
네, 승리 축하드립니다. 소감 어떠신가요?
Congrats on your win. How do you feel?
일단은 손보라를 가장 많이 하지 않고 이겨서 기분이 좀 좋긴 한.
I'm really happy,
잘하진
but not
않았지만
just
그래도
because we won, but also
재미는
I
있었습니다.
won with the least amount of Sombra
오늘은 좀
playtime.
재미가 있었다라고 말씀을 해주셨는데 시즌 굉장히 좋은 모습을 보내고 계시는 서울 인페르널입니다. 혹시 오늘 뭐 팀원이나 코칭 스태프에게
It's been a
하고
long
싶은
and
말이
nice
혹시
season for you so
있으실까요?
far. Do you have anything to say to your teammates or coaches?
다시 한 번만 얘기해 주시면 제대로 못
Can
들어가지고.
you say that again?
팀원들이나 코칭 스태프에게 하고 싶은 말이 혹시 있으실까요?
Do you have anything to say to your teammates or coaches?
오늘 좀 그렇게 에코를 했었을 때 잘했던 건 아니지만 다음에는 더 잘할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
Well, all I want to say is that I haven't been too hot on the Echo today, but next time I'll
또
make it happen.
축하드릴 일이요. 오늘 MSD 선수가 맵 100승 달성을 하셨습니다. 이 사실 알고 계셨나요?
Also, something to celebrate. It's your 100th map win today. Did you know that in
게임
advance?
중간에 유튜브로 그 대회 복귀하면서 안 썼는데 그것 때문에 알게
So
됐어요.
during the break,
성과는
actually,
나의
I saw
승이라는
the
걸 몰랐어요.
I saw the asset coming up on the broadcast on
백승했다는 거
YouTube,
알고 계시고
and that's
기분이
when I knew.
어떠셨어요?
So I didn't know that before.
내가 벌써 이렇게 많은 경기를 뛰었구나라는
So how do you feel about that?
아 그렇군요.
I just had the feeling that
그리고 또
I actually
궁금한
played a
게요.
lot
이
of matches and
전체적으로
won a lot of them, so
선수들
it
이
felt
캠을
okay.
보니까요. 머리 스타일이 굉장히 멋진 그런 모습이 보이더라고요. 혹시 팀 복지
So we
차원에서
noticed that
다
a lot of
같이
hairdo
샵을
changes
방문한
across the
걸까요?
entire roster. Was this a team
아니요
activity
전부
thing?
다 개인 의사입니다.
Well,
다 다른
it was all
샵에 가서
individually
스타일을
funded, and it
받았군요.
wasn't individual.
네,
혹시 MSD 선수는 약간 기분 전환용으로 하신 건가요?
저는 좀 탈색모가 잘 안 어울리는 것
So,
같아서
why did you like
그냥
change your
검은색으로
hairstyle?
다시 덮었어요.
I
지금
dyed my
제가
hair before.
현장에
I
비행 파티
didn't really think
하고
that
계시는
it was
관중분들께 무슨 소리를
looking good on
들었냐면요.
me, so I
뭔
just
소리야,
changed it back.
탈색머리 잘 어울리는데 라는 말씀을 드렸습니다. 탈색머리도 지금 흑발도 너무 잘 어울리세요. 자, MN3 선수 저번 인터뷰에서 애쉬를 좀 쓰고 싶다, 스나를 좀 쓰고 싶다라고 말씀을 하셨는데
You mentioned
오늘
on
좀
your last
쓰셨어요.
interview that you
어떠셨어요?
wanted to play snipers, and wish granted. You played a lot of heroes today, including the Ash. How'd you feel today?
만족스러운 실력은 아니었던 것 같아요.
I think I got a little rusty on some of those heroes, so I'm
그럼
not
혹시
100%
오늘은 좀
satisfied.
승리를 해서 기분이 얼마나 좋으신가요? 오늘도 좀 그저 그런가요?
오늘은 그래도
So last time you
잘하진
said you were a little bit
못했는데
like not
재밌어갖고
100% content that
좀
after that
80%
match
정도
win. How
것 같아요.
compared to that, how much
그러면
of a
내일은
happiness
혹시
level are you
내일
on
서울
after today's win?
더비전이잖아요.
네,
Well, I
내일
feel a lot
이기게
better
되면
than last time.
100% 좋을 수 있을까요?
Again, I played a little bit of the Sombra.
열심히 노력하고 있습니다.
본인에게 굉장히 약간 관대하지 못한 그런 스타일인 것 같아요.
So you think you're? I think you're a little bit too hard on yourself, don't you
많이
think?
높아가지고 다른 사람들이 보기에는 그렇게 느낄 수도 있을 것 같아요.
I don't personally think like that, but I think on like a third person point of view, I think it might look
방금
like as if I'm a little bit, I have a little bit too high
다이너스티와의
standards
대결입니다.
on myself.
마지막으로 각오 한마디 부탁드립니다.
Tomorrow you go against the Dynasty,
저번 서울
who
경기전 때는 좀
who are you on the
많이
lookout
아쉽게
for so
됐지만
far, and how do you feel about the match?
확실하게 저희가 진짜 서울임을 증명한 날인 것 같습니다.
Tomorrow will prove
진짜
that
서울이
we are
되기를
the one and
기대하도록
only and the
하겠습니다.
real
감사합니다.
Seoul. And that's the end of the interview. Back to you, casters.
MN3 선수 만나봤습니다.
Dang, got some heat coming in for tomorrow's game. That's what I like to see. It's a land game as well. Pretty high matchup. Seoul Infernal looking on form, so they might just deliver on that promise.
Yeah, the Seoul Dynasty have their work cut out for them, as of course MN3 is going to try and minimize the uptime on that Sombra. But we did see some cracks in the Seoul Dynasty today, especially on, of course, Circuit Royale up against Guangzhou Charge, when the Moo bought out the Pharah and stymied the Seoul Dynasty, who couldn't play the vertical game against the Rocket Queen.
Look, I thoroughly enjoy getting some classic Jinmu on the Fire coming on through, so, you know, why the heck not? And the fact that it works as well, I think speaks volumes to how good he is on that hero. Now you take a look at the overall standings. Again, Dallas Fuel 6-0, Seoul's Dynasty at 6-1, Infernal 6-1, Dynasty at 5-2. Darryl, we got a Seoul game tomorrow. It's going to get more confusing. But that Dallas matchup, like that Dallas versus Hangzhou game, has a lot of implications in terms of Dallas's ability to maintain #1 spot.
Yeah, Dallas Fuel, they are sitting pretty, but they are also in danger. Seoul Infernal, desperate for that 7-1, and ideally with a good map differential as well. And we know that Hangzhou Spark, they can really come out and simply decimate a team like you have no idea. We're starting off with a bunch of bangers tomorrow. Owl Team going up against Owl Team. All of our top 4 teams are having a battle royale in the first 2 matches. That's crazy.
I mean, you have some crazy important games tomorrow, that is for sure. And ideally, a important opportunity for Guangzhou Charge to maybe catch up as well. Look, they had a reasonable performance today, not good enough to beat the Seoul Dynasty, but opportunity to maybe take it up against Dreamers instead. Good day, though. Good day of Overwatch. We didn't get a single 3-0. Would you believe that?
Yeah, no 3-0s. We are feasting here in APAC. The Era 3 Overwatch is completely finished. And like you said, Dreamers coming up tomorrow against Guangzhou Charge. That's going to be another one to watch. As currently our best contenders team, Dreamers, even after losing both their DPS to some Owl teams who were going poaching in the mid-season, trying to fix whatever woes they had of lackluster season beginnings. But this ending of our season, Avril, is going to be far from lackluster.
Yeah, and we still got the knockouts to look forward to as well. So, you know, plenty ahead to play through. I mean, after this week, there is going to be a bit of a 2-week break to introduce the new season and patch along with plenty of
New map
changes
type
on board. And, of course, a brand new map and new game mode on top of everything else. But for now, going to be closing things out with 2 more days of APAC here, hopefully with some amazing games, especially tomorrow. I think tomorrow is very important for finishing out our regular season.
Yeah, the Soul Bowl LAN in particular is something you guys will not want to miss, not only for the implications, but also for how hype it's going to be. two Seoul home teams in front of their home crowds playing, especially in Seoul Infernal's case, for a little bit of redemption. Because they should not, in their eyes, I imagine, have dropped that last Seoul Bowl and lost the dominance over the home region to their rivals, the long-standing Seoul home team in the Dynasty. They were looking for a usurpation here, but maybe they can finally find it on the second Seoul Bowl on LAN.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one game that got away from them last time around, and while this time they wouldn't want that to be another game that gets away from them, considering they already lost to Dallas last week. So Infernal doing their best here to reclaim a top position, and they do still look like one of our top teams, especially now that they're back in the facility. COVID aside, back on top. Today was pretty dominant. They did lose a map, but that was well played by Viper and well played by Fate in Shanghai. Aside from that, though, the 3 maps they won, I think very one-sided here late day as we will finish things out now. Had a good day of Overwatch. We'll see you again tomorrow for some more Overwatch League action. Gotcha.
Justice reigns from above.